Well, hey everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of CX and Coffee. My name's Justin Robbins, and I do this every single week alongside my good friend.
Marty Shaughnessy.
I really want to record this one of these times and just have a button and surprise you and just like cue it up. That'd be so
I've
cool.
actually been trying to say it the same way every single time.
I
So
like it. It's consistency,
this
Marty.
kind of delivery, pause, delivery, saying my name the same way. Yeah.
I'm here for it. If nobody else, Marty, I'm here for it. If this is your first time, I'm sorry. Here's what we do: we review a brand new coffee. You get to learn a little bit about what Marty and I do when we're not doing customer experience and marketing and design and all sorts of other businessy things. And we do spend some time talking about a topic that is meaningful to you if you work in the world of customer experience. And let's be honest, Marty, even if customer experience isn't in your title, if you're in business, you've got customers, you're in CX, surprise, surprise.
Yeah. 100%.
How are you doing, my friend?
Good. Good. It's cold here. Cold here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, what's
But
cold? Let's set expectations for the people.
well, we just had snow the other day, so it's in the 30s. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And it usually isn't a big deal, except now we've got a young puppy, so we're going outside multiple times a day to walk the puppy, and you can't make a dog do their thing. You just
Yeah.
have to wait. So sometimes it's a quick in and out, and then other times it's like, oh, let's do another lap around the yard, and she's sniffing, and she's, no, not here. Let's go over. Hey, bring me over there. And so there's just a lot. There's just a lot of that. So
Yeah,
my house is warm, but it is cold outside.
that's fair. How is the puppy, by the way?
She's great. Her name is Josie. She's a mini Bernedoodle. Cute as a button, as the kids say. And yeah,
Really?
no,
Because
she's
the
great.
first time you described her, you said low key ugly. I think we'll
That
roll
was
back the tape, but I think
that
that's
was
that's
that was what my daughter said. Now she's had a haircut since then, but she was pretty shaggy when we got her. But yeah, no, she's cute and she's getting better every day. I mean, she's just kind of learning the family still. It still hasn't been 3 months, so she's doing all right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, she's sweet.
Speaking of cold, I am unprepared, Marty. We I just got back from a trip to Fort Lauderdale where it was in the mid 80s.
Okay.
And you and I are recording this a little earlier than we normally do because one of my boys is turning 13. So he and I are about to hop on an airplane, fly to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then drive 2 hours further north from that for a father son ice fishing adventure. And
Wow.
Marty, I was looking at the air temperature. I want to say Sunday night into Monday is when it bottoms out at a warm negative 22 degrees, and on Monday the high is -1.
Nice. Perfect. Well, I'm sure you probably have some pretty good like warm gear though. You seem like a guy who has invested in the past in a nice like down jacket or something like that, right?
I have, Marty, but I will tell you, I was in Madison, Wisconsin when the polar vortex
Oh,
made the news for the first time. To this day, I remember the feeling of inhaling air for the first time in those types of temperatures. And this will be my second experience with that. I know that's exactly the trachea. Is that what are the bronchi? This is man. Probably should have studied a little bit more science.
I'm staying out of this one.
Look, all I know is
I know
definitely
what you're
not my
talking.
it's
Yeah.
not my trachea. It's whatever the things inside your
Yeah.
lungs.
Cool.
They don't sell coats for those, Marty.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my point. They don't sell coats for those.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those when you breathe in through your nose and your nose, you can just tell everything just froze up in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm really looking forward to it, though. We'll be in a hut on the ice. It does have propane, but we're sleeping on the ice. The holes will be in the floor, but there are no outlets. I warned my son ahead of time. It's like it
Yeah.
is going to be a long, cold 48 hours. Bring a board game.
Yeah, and is it? I can't wait to see pictures. Is it kind of like a two person? Like, are there two beds in the thing? I mean, how big? Or is it like a 10 by 10
They have different
with a hole in the
sizes.
ground?
I mean, you can write on the hole in the ground. They
Yeah.
have different sizes. The lovely owner, Linda. So there's a restaurant and hotel there as well, and they put these um, shanties on the ice. They do based off of a number of people. So I want to say the one that we're in can accommodate 4 people. So we'll have a little bit of space, but it's not. She described it as she's like just prepare for camping. Just whatever you would do
Yeah.
to prepare for camping. We know that it does not have any type of toilet facility inside of said shanty. We will have to bundle up and trek across the ice to find the closest outhouse.
Okay.
Although I saw someone this weekend, they're like, Justin, you just told me there's a hole in the ground. No, friends, I will not be polluting Mille Lacs Lake. I'm just
Right.
putting it out there. Not
Right.
my style.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I can't wait to see pictures because I think about sometimes you'll see like, oh, this is a 4 person tent, and I'm like, there's no way you could fit unless you're stacking humans. There's no way you could fit 4 people in that thing, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great.
And we do have some sort of cooking area. I don't know that we're really going to tap
Okay.
into that. We're probably going to trek, if nothing else, to the restaurant just so we can, have something more than oatmeal. Is
Right.
is my hope.
Yeah. Freeze dry. You know what? In some future episode, we'll have to talk about how when you, Nate Brown, and I went camping and we did our taste test for
Yeah.
I don't even what was it, Swedish meat? No, it wasn't Swedish meatballs. We remember we did a blind
One
tasting
with
of
the
freeze
freeze
dried.
dried. Yeah, we had 2 different brands. Well, and what's interesting, Marty, is my son really wanted to bring that stuff along. So we do have some freeze dried meals that,
Okay.
assuming we have means to boil water,
Yeah.
we will do that. Because he's it's the experience, Marty.
Yep.
It's the experience.
I gotcha. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
but should be good. I'm excited to share if we even catch any fish. Honestly, my hope is we just even one fish. That's low expectations from me. But if nothing else, I was saying to my wife and catching up with somebody else about this, you just like, if you're watching this and you're a parent of teens or older, it's like you realize that very quickly time goes faster than you think it does.
Yeah. All the cliches on that are true. Yeah. My kids
Yeah.
are 21 and 23 now. It's crazy.
So, but that's it. That's honestly that's kind of all my mind's on right now. We're coming up. This episode will be right after President's Day weekend. Do you do anything to honor past presidents or anything of the sort, Marty?
I do not.
Do
That's
you at
not a
least go
political
buy
statement.
a new washer and dryer or something?
You know what we did? We did. I feel like we did go and buy a washer and dryer many years ago. Like our stuff was definitely like spent, and somebody said if you come back in a week, you'll save a bunch of money, and we did, and that's a real thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
real thing. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, what kind of coffee you drinking? What do we got?
Uh, the place that made us fall in love with North Carolina is a little town called New Bern.
Okay.
And our kids thought it was so cool because they have all of these bears around town. Bern is German for bear. All of these bears, everything from a colonial bear to a taxi cab bear to it's interesting. I'll find a picture and we'll throw it here in post production. Over the Christmas season, we went up to New Bern and they have a
Oh,
really
hold
neat.
on. So not real bears. There's just like what, like little wooden bears or plastic bears around town. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, they're
I thought you were
they're
saying there was like a population of like bears in there that you could like see and feed, but then when you went into what did you say, taxi cab bear? I'm like, all right, I'm not getting it.
yeah,
So
no,
there
they're
might be
bear
might be
statues.
somebody at home who's not getting it as well. All right, so there's bear statues all over town.
New Bern has bear statues, and I'll impose one right there.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
what I'm talking about. I'll put taxi cab bear there. That'll be easy.
All right.
Anyway, we love New Bern. And on Saturday mornings, they have a great local market. In the past, we've gotten cool bags for my wife and daughter, different foods. The big thing the kids were excited about this year is they're all into the freeze-dried candy. So we had to get some freeze-dried Skittles. And I found a coffee roaster that had set up their stand there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And was having a conversation with the gentleman who ran it. His name was Jesse. And just asking, they had all sorts of, I mean, everything from flavored coffees to just different varieties. And so I asked him, I was like, what is the most unique? What do you think is the most unique coffee that you've got on display here? So he came around and he's looking at things and he said, this one, the Costamatra.
Okay.
And you might be wondering, Costamatra? I've never heard of such a thing. Nor have I. But you know what? You know what Costamatra is? And this is rare air coffee. Costamatra is a full city roast that blends the rich, smooth, full-bodied Sumatra with the noted citrus flavors of Costa Rica to create a well-balanced cup of coffee that will always satisfy. And you've got 2 regions, one in Sumatra and one in Costa Rica, listed on the bag. Nothing else here. Straight and to the point. They had some coffee while we were there, and I think it was just, one of their standard blends. I'm going to call it their house blend. It was okay. I had that after I bought the bag of coffee.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. I'm excited. They do have a nice little square site set up and everything that we'll link to here as well. But if nothing else, it was neat to find a local coffee roaster. Got something different here that I'm excited to give a try today.
Yeah.
And we'll start, as we always do, by going in for the sniff.
The sniffer.
Okay, so...
Is there any tasting notes on the bag, or any hints?
It's high in fiber, I know. Okay, I want to, before I even smell it, something really interesting. I want to, and this is like peppered throughout the bag. So I'm going to put 2 beans up.
Oh yeah.
Against my jacket. It almost looks like a salt and pepper bag of coffee where you've got 2 very distinct colors on these beans scattered throughout. It's fascinating. That helps. It distributes the
Sure.
scent. The scent.
Absolutely. That's a pro move right there.
I just know I do it with wine, so I figured it's probably the same thing with coffee. Should see the legs on this. It's very pleasant, but there's an interesting spice note in here. It's like a baking spice.
Like a clove, allspice,
Yes.
cinnamon.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. I don't know that it's cinnamon, but it does have like a pie spice scent
Okay.
to it. And again, this is not a flavor coffee.
Yeah. Nutmeg.
It might be nutmeg. Yeah, so you've got this interesting spice with this is always so hard. I'm like trying to pick out what the heck is this? What are you laughing at, Marty?
I'm just laughing at somebody who's watching this and like, all right, let me just skip ahead. Like on the, let me just until he
We
figures.
have the statistics, Marty, and as I happen to know that the highest level of engagement is during the bag sniff.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that. I was on.
Now you do. Now you do.
No, I was on.
Actually, no. Most of this gets cut out in editing because I don't even want to be spending this much time sniffing a bag. But you know what I'm trying to do, Marty? I'm trying to tell us what it actually smells like.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Coffee. There. You get happy now, Marty? Are you happy it smells like coffee?
with a hint of coffee.
Okay, it's there's something else familiar here that's got yeah. There's some sort of baked good smell that's in here that is it's super pleasing, and I'll be really curious how this comes across in the sip. Um, but yeah, I like your nutmeg tie there. That has the baking spice note.
Yeah. Okay.
So, right. So this is the Rare Air coffee I got in New Bern, North Carolina. It's fresh roasted in Maple Hill. So that's a small town, I can tell you right now, because I don't actually know where Maple Hill is.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it's a suburb of New Bern, and New Bern in and of itself doesn't qualify to have a suburb. No offense if I love New Bern. No offense.
Right.
Rare Air Roastery, Costamatra. Here we go.
All right.
So I still get the baking spice cutting through on the roast, and I want to say maybe like a lemon oil too.
Mm.
So it's what's really weird right now is my brain is somewhere between lemon meringue and pumpkin pie.
Yeah, that is a weird spot.
It's a weird spot,
Yeah.
but somehow it smells like it makes sense.
There's only one way to find out. Get in there.
Here we go.
Okay, he's going back for another sip.
Okay.
Is it carrying over?
It's really delightful.
Nice.
It's really nice. I am pleasantly surprised by this one. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've had this bag for a little bit, and I've been waiting, trying, because I didn't like the cup of coffee that I had when I stopped at the stand.
Yeah.
But here they've gone and totally redeemed themselves. I probably have to pay someone to have said that now, don't
Yeah.
I? Yeah, it's
Probably.
It's
Probably.
really good, really pleasant, really mild. It doesn't have. I lose all of this. Like, it didn't feel like I was eating a piece of pie. It was honestly just a really
Not too acidic.
no, just a I mean, really good cup of coffee. It does. So there's some coffees that I drink that I think, again, this is me not putting something in it, that I'm like, I don't know that this could hold cream and sugar. I feel like it would take it too far down a path of this is probably totally illogical. This, however, feels like it could support it really well. This is a complete tangent. One of the things I always liked about Dunkin' Donuts coffee is I felt like in some cases it really just like it stood out and carried cream and sugar in a really good way. It never felt sickeningly sweet. It's like you could
Yeah.
take a cup of coffee and pair those things in it, and it would come really well. This is giving me that vibe of like, I really like it dark, but if for any reason I wanted to put cream and sugar into a cup of coffee, this is one that I feel I would probably like. I actually might, and I'm not saying I'd like it more because it's sweet, but I feel like it would create a nuance in this that would be really pleasant.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Well, it's funny you mentioned Dunkin'. So I grew up in Massachusetts, so Dunkin's been part of. So, I mean, it's been there forever, and it is so popular in the town my dad lives in. There are two Dunkin' Donuts that are probably a mile and a half from each other, and the whole day there's the drive through is full. It's like it never stops. It's pretty amazing, and the fact that you could have two so close that aren't like cannibalizing each other is pretty amazing as well. People like their Dunkin' there.
It's nuts, and I have Actually, both of my brothers, one still works in coffee, one had worked in coffee for a while. Dunkin' actually uses a very high grade of coffee, higher than some of the other places that you may think of when you think of franchise coffee
Yeah.
locations. Uh, yeah, don't I actually don't hate on Dunkin's coffee. I'm totally cool with it.
It's very unique. I mean, you can tell, and I don't stand as a coffee expert, but I think I could probably pick out Dunkin' if you gave me 50 different cups of coffee. I could probably pick out which one's the Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, I actually I agree with that. That's yeah, it's just got a profile. It's got and which is it's cool. It's cool to have an ownable profile on that front. Also, update from the $35 bag of coffee. I had shared a little bit of it with the one of the guys who is kind of the community manager here at the building where I have an office, and I saw him this morning. It's the first time since I had given it to him. He stopped me. He's like, "That was a really good cup of coffee." And this guy, like, he's owned coffee shops. He's done
Right.
things. So I'm gonna go back to it again. By the way, Marty, I mentioned last week that I'm gonna draw a winner from the comments. I'm gonna give it one more week, so it's not too late to go back on last week's video and share a tip in the comments, and you could win yourself a $35 bag of coffee, which you don't have to take my word for it. Take it from the community manager at Common Desk. It's amazing.
There you go.
Also amazing, Costamatra by Rare Air Coffee. Got it in New Bern, North Carolina, but I'm going to send you a link to their Square site if you go ahead check out the blog post or you're watching this on YouTube. We've got it in the comments, so go ahead and give yourself a try. They have a ton of different coffees that are available. So if you're a flavored coffee person, they had a lot of those, which, again, no judgment here. A cup of coffee, a cup of tea, heck, Marty, a cup of water. Whatever you're into, we support
Right.
it here at CX and Coffee.
Sure do.
But today we support Rare Air.
Well done, Rare Air.
Well done.
That's kind of weird to say. Rare
It
Air.
is.
Rare Air.
Yeah, rare. It's
Rare
like
Air.
a you know what? It's the sound that the car I'm renting is gonna be making when I go to leave on Sunday morning. Rare. I'm leaving that joke in there.
Oh boy. We'll vote. We'll vote on that after, folks. If that joke makes it, that means Justin overruled me. All right. So
Marty, I was in the airport and I overheard. I'm gonna say overheard because eavesdropping sounds so intrusive.
it does.
Someone in my proximity was having a very loud conversation. I
Okay.
believe it was with a family member, and it was at first it was very off-putting to me because this lady's talking this family member through some sort of situation that they've got going on with a company, right? She's going down the path of, okay, you've got to make sure that you mention this and this because they won't ask about it and it's really important. She's then calling out, you need to specifically make sure that you tell them you want follow up. She's like, because they're not going to do anything if you don't. My
Was this person? I'm sorry. Was this person talking to another in person or on the phone?
She was on the phone with somebody and she
Okay.
was walking them through what to do in what I'm believing was an upcoming interaction with a
Right.
business.
Okay.
And at first I was like, what is like why is this lady feeling that it's her responsibility to be this person's CX life coach? And then I realized that probably because she either had an experience with that company or something has kind of caught her into this belief that she knows more and is better prepared to serve whoever she was talking to than the people that
Yeah.
person's going to be contacting who should serve them. And I wrote a little bit of a post about this, but I wanted to use our time together today to talk about this challenge of our customers feeling like they need to be the experts on our products and services or navigating our policies. I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that causes, but more importantly, what are a couple things organizations can do to make sure they don't find themselves in that situation. Before I do that, I'm curious, have you ever found yourself in that spot where you're like, I know way more about what's happening than this schmuck that has picked up the phone?
I mean, I feel like, you know what? I mean, when I go into a situation, I'm already in my head. I'm already prepared for battle, like resistance, and it does feel like, the deck is stacked against you, or whatever cliche you want to insert in here, where they're trying to, we've talked about this before, but okay, so where's the number I can reach a person? Well, before I get to a person, I have to do this. And then, oh, I can do a chatbot. Okay, let me do the chatbot. Well, the chatbot can only go so far, and then even sometimes with you know, texting with the live agents, like, well, we're going to have to transfer you to the phone person. So it just feels like there's this kind of little mini Olympics that are purpose under the guise of making it easier, making it more, we just care about the customers. We want to make sure you get your, I don't know. And I understand cost is involved, but for me, and maybe this is my age, if I can get a person that I can say, here's my issue. They say, hey, Mr. Shaughnessy, let me look into that. Okay, here's some, even if they can't solve it or it doesn't get solved the way I want, I know I'm heard and I'm actually having that like interaction that makes me feel good, right? A lot of times it's like I can feel myself being diffused by somebody saying, wow, that would be frustrating. Hold on, let me see what I can do. Oh, okay. They're at least going to try to help. When you're working with a system, it's I'm not the expert, but I've been through the story before and I know what's going to happen, so I'm already like going into it as a defeatist, like, well, hopefully this doesn't take me 35 minutes.
Right. Yeah, it's that combination of either your past experience with them has tainted it. You're like, this is not what I'm up for today. Or even in some cases, it may not be that business, right? But an interaction with somebody else's chatbot, or the last time somebody told you that they need to have you speak to this other team or this other whatever.
Right.
Right, we get triggered on all sorts of levels. And what was fascinating as I listened to this lady and recognized that this is far from isolated, right? It's not just maybe it's isolated in the sense that we don't all have people trying to be our guiding light as we navigate bad customer situations. But what is really clear to me is, I think first and foremost, we need to recognize that if our customers feel like they need to be and play the experts, we have thrown trust out the window. There's no way they are going to believe or engage or want to hear anything that any representative, whether that's the frontline person, their supervisor, or their boss's boss's boss. That's a lot of undoing if we're at this place where I, the customer, feel like I know more or am better prepared to navigate this situation. So I think that's the first trigger point for us to recognize is like, if trust matters to you and you want your customers trusting you, we've got to recognize that if they're feeling they have to, be prepared for battle, to use your words,
Yeah.
that's not there. I think the second piece is often when customers are contacting us and needing to get to a live representative, they have most often exhausted other paths, and in many cases already have a level of frustration or have experienced friction points. And now adding an extra layer of complexity, of uncertainty, just adds to that, right? It's frustrating. It starts to breed resentment, and really what it's doing is it's exhausting your customers. I mean, I actually heard someone use those words recently where they were talking about a situation they've been trying to work through with a company for months now, and they said, I'm just exhausted. And I don't know if this is a strategy for some businesses to try to beat their customers into complete submission. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work out for you, right? And that to me, I think, is the third thing that kind of jumped in my mind in terms of like, why is this a problem? Is that customer, they are not going to recommend you to someone else. They are very unlikely to return. I think more than anything, they're going to be a force multiplier for sharing all of the bad that they've experienced. Those are the things that we I think all know this, but it's like we're more wired to talk about the train wrecks than we are about the everything went exactly as hoped and planned.
Right.
And I think the last thing, Marty, from a like, what's the problem with that is, and I'll use an example of a company I had. This is a couple months back now, but I I called them and had a terrible experience with their service, and we're kind of talking through all these things, and ultimately like the resolution was that things weren't going to get resolved, and that I was done with them. Do you know that that person still had the audacity to try to upsell me on something?
Because is it because the script told them to? Do you think, or is it just they just didn't really? I mean, that was just their natural instinct to try to.
Both, Marty. To me, there's this like saying the script told me to is like, are you still not like a rational human being?
Yeah.
Right. And if you're leading someone that clearly there's a challenge and you are more fixated on, oh well, the script said to upsell. It's like, hang on, that is not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And what I want people to recognize is that if you've got customers who are frustrated and it hasn't been resolved, like it's different if, hey, if things get resolved, there's absolutely evidence to show that overcoming challenges and adversity can be catalysts for customers to have greater loyalty and to have the better longevity and greater spend and all those kinds of things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when I've come and I felt that I've just been beaten down and exhausted. What that also causes then is that agent has to spend so much time trying to overcome that you've now lost any opportunity to do the upsell, to have something that could be meaningful for the business. So that was kind of the stuff unwinding for me. But I guess beyond that, it's like, okay, we all agree that those things are bad. What do we actually do about it? And for CX and Coffee today, I've got four things that I'll underscore. The first, this is basic, but it's so important. We have got to spend time teaching and equipping our team to be the experts, to solve the problems that our customers are coming to us with, and be empowered to proactively address their needs. You know the common reasons why your customers contact you. You know the most frequent reasons why they escalate or that there's confusion. And yet, Marty, when I talk to frontline associates every single year consistently, they tell me that the thing that causes them to be most apathetic and frustrated in their work outside of a bad boss is not having the tools, the processes, the support to do what they need to do to anticipate needs, to solve their problems. That's wrong.
Yeah.
We are setting ourselves up to fail and have no ability to scale and do cool, interesting, impactful things if our employees feel like, yeah, the customer does know more about the policies. Yeah, the customer does have greater visibility into announcements that we're making, right? That's non-negotiable. So number one is let's make sure that we're teaching and equipping our teams for the most common problems. Again, not talking about the exception, I'm talking about the norm. Second, look, I know that I'm going to say this and you're like, Justin, this isn't just a me problem. I get it that it's not just a you problem, but we have got to look at ways that we can simplify processes for our customers. If you've got someone, again, I think about the lady having the conversation. She was telling them that they needed to spell out their needs, that they needed to ask for specific follow-up. those are glaring examples that the processes are working against customers, not for them.
Yeah.
I understand you might have compliance and regulatory and things that you have to do. But do you have to do them in a way that is burdensome, that's elusive, that's almost designed for disengagement? I think about, gosh, Marty, a few months ago when I got the giant. You remember this thing from my bank, right? The all the terms and services that was like a royal scroll. You know,
Right.
there's I'm not. I get it. They had to communicate that information to me, but that definitely wasn't built for my consumption. So
Yeah.
simplify processes is number two. Number three, and this is not just a CX thing, this is organization things. We've got to make sure we have ways to close the loop with our customers. You as a customer shouldn't feel like you need to check in, that you need to follow up. And this is all about making sure we build the right systems and the right communication to keep things from falling through the cracks. When this is not systematized, when it is not automated, when it is left on each one of us as individuals, we have essentially resigned ourselves to failure because none of us can stay on top of all of the follow up
Mm.
that needs to happen. So we've got to have something in place to make sure we're closing the feedback loop. And I guess the last thing, that this made me really think about is that at no point can we just kind of sit back and relax and be like, you know what, it's okay if this interaction's mediocre. We'll make up for it next time, or we were really good last time. Every single interaction that our customers have with our brands is an opportunity to either build or destroy the relationship that we have with them. And gosh, again, I listened to the things that this woman was mentioning on this phone call, and they were simple things, right? Without being an expert in this business and this contact type, just a few minutes of rational thinking, and it's like, gosh, if this is a reason why someone's contacting me, I'd hope that my people would be asking about this. If it was something that required follow-up, I'd hope we'd set the right expectations on what we're able to do, and yet hope will only get us so far. We've got to have systems and processes and accountability in place.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm thinking about today, Marty. Is as we look at another week of CX and coffee. Is, if you find circumstances where you see, you think, you believe, or you're hearing from your employees that your customers know more than they do, that your customers feel like they have to be prepared to go into battle. It's time to revisit the way that we design and deliver our customer interactions.
Amen to that.
As the Costamatra cools down, it's not a great room temperature coffee.
Good to know. Noted.
Yeah, so, and I'm not a microwave my coffee person.
Okay.
Typically, if I was using the CX and coffee mug, I wouldn't have this problem, Marty. But I forgot it today. I forgot it. And this ceramic mug has let me down, so.
I've always been interested in those USB cup warmers.
We have one of those, and we never use it.
Yeah. I've never used it, but I mean, it just seemed like a good idea.
Yeah. Well, until next time, Marty. I'm hoping on episode 15 that I haven't lost any digits to frostbite, and that I've got a cool story about an epic fish that my son and I caught. Even if we didn't, I'm gonna make up a story. So,
I would definitely ask if there's like some kind of legend, like the legend of Old Gill, and
Yeah.
that you guys are gonna catch Old Gill. He's been evasive for 17 years, and
oh yeah, we'll get into Mille Lacs lore, and we will go on the hunt,
all
Marty.
right.
But until then, Rare Air Coffee,
Rare.
Maple Hill, North Carolina.
Rare.
We did the Costamatra blend. I'm actually most fascinated by the color of these beans. It is so. I'm gonna go back and look at the grounds and see. You probably can't tell at that point, but super cool. I want to almost like pour it like sand into a jar, just the beans, because of how neat they look. And y'all, your customers should not feel like they have to be the experts. We, of course, want to empower them to be able to help themselves. They want that. But when that doesn't work, they need you. They need your team to be ready, willing, and able to support their needs. I'm going to leave you to think about that. Until then, my name's Justin Robbins. This has been CX and Coffee. Do it every single week alongside my good friend.
Marty Shaughnessy.
We'll catch you next time for a whole new brew.